So I'm going to be putting the tyre back on the rim without doing anything which could scratch or damage the rim in any way. I'm not going to be using the tyre the bar which comes with the mounting tool because this will scratch the rim just in its not ordinary use. I'm using a cloth just to protect the rim when I put the collar on top. I'm putting the collar on top upside down because if it goes the right way up, then it tends to clamp down and mark the rim. And then I'm just clamping it down hand tight, and that's a good thing about not using the tyre bar. So the first thing I do is put a new valve in, and I use a valve insertion tool, like a kind of pull-in tool, and I just put down the valve remover on the rim just to protect the rim, and I use something to lever the tyre valve inside. And I'll just give it a quick tug in a circular motion just to make sure it's all inserted correctly. Then place the dust cap back on the new valve. Okay, the next thing to do is bring up the new tyre, and I'm going to use some soap just around the edge of the rim. I'm going to put plenty on around the edge of the rim and plenty on around the edge of each side of the tyre wall. This is just to make it easy again, because I'm not going to be using the tyre bar which comes with the tool. Which I'm holding the rim on. I need it to be as slippery as possible. I'm just going to be using manual pressure itself. That's a good advantage as well because I won't be using any circular motion, so I won't be pulling the iron around, and I won't be putting any circular motion on the rim itself. So it should be a lot softer on the tyre and the rim. Now the rim I'm actually using is an old one because this is just the second time I've done this, so I'm just using it as a test scenario. So it doesn't really matter if I damage this rim, but I'm doing it in a fashion so that when I come to do it on my painted rims, that I won't actually damage those. So it's just kind of a bit of practice. Okay, so the first wall to put on is the inner wall. The inner wall is a bit wider than the outer wall, and so it tends to go on a lot easier, so just a bit of pushing should put it on, and yeah, so I'm just putting downward force on, and it goes on relatively easy. Newer tyres tend to be a bit harder to sort of put on than older tyres, because the older tyres the rubber sort of degrades and becomes a lot softer. And then all I'm doing is just using downward force to push the tyre onto the actual rim itself. Now, I didn't have the technique down very well at this point because like I say, this is only the second time that I've done it, and so you'll see that I'm actually what I should be doing is keeping the rim like I'm doing there inside the groove on the far side, because it just won't go on if you don't do that. So you'll see me continually just checking to make sure the tyres in the rim at both the top and the bottom, and as you can see, I haven't quite got it there, so I'm going to have a lot of difficulty at this point in time. But as I progress, you'll see that I actually get the rim inside the tyre inside the groove of the rim as I progress. So this is actually probably taking me a bit longer than it should do. So I'm just checking the bottom side of the rim and the top side, and it's easier if you take it from the outside to the back side, just putting it there. So you can see that I've put it on the top and the bottom, but it'll probably slip back out again. So it slips back up again on the back, but I haven't seen that. And so when you're doing this, you have to check quite regularly to make sure it's in the top and the bottom. And eventually, when it gets onto at a certain point, which is in a minute now, which I think is here, is actually in that groove, so it won't actually come out. And actually, this is the point at which it becomes a lot easier to do. And so it shouldn't take much longer than this point now, and it should go on fairly easy from here, I think. It does take a lot of downward force, so I weigh about a bit over 100 kilos, so I've got a bit of an advantage, but all I'm doing is putting downward force on, and so I'm not scraping the rim at all around the edge. And I'm using my knee there, so another thing, I tend to use my knee to keep the tyre in place if I'm going around the back again to check to see if it's in the groove like I'm doing there, and that keeps the front end in place while I'm making sure the back end's in the groove. It's about to snap on, I believe. So it is quite tight, but it's totally doable, and because it's only rubber against the alloy wheel, there should be no paint damage at all. And as also there's a lot of soap on there, so that should protect the rim as well. But I think as I do more of these, my technique should get better, and it should get a lot quicker to do. I mean, obviously it's probably easier to do using a bar, but you're guaranteed to scratch the rims if you do that. So if you've got maybe just steel rims, you just use the bar and get it straight on there. But if you don't want to scratch your rims and you want to do this kind of work at home, then this is the best way that I found to do it. And there it goes on. So at last, then the final thing to do is to inflate the tyre up to pressure. And so when the tyre gets up to pressure, it will just snap into place onto the beads.
and get double club card points. Engineered by the team that also fuels the McLaren Honda Formula One team. SF.